Alright, I'm doing it. I've never done one of these videos yet. I know that Apples and Tiaras and Genuine Teaching started this trend on teacher vlogs, and now Too Cool for Middle School has picked up on this idea of teacher tags. But no dudes have done teacher tags yet, so I'm gonna be the first dude to... No, I don't know if that really works. The idea here is that there's a set number of questions. In this case, there are 11 questions, and Too Cool for Middle School put these together, and she answered them all yesterday on her vlog, and I'll link that below so you can check it out. And I thought I would do the same thing. The reason I think this is cool is because it gives you a lot more insight on individuals, like as to who they are. So you might get some insight on me that you didn't realize before, or some stuff might come up. I didn't even read these questions ahead of time. I watched her answer them, but I haven't really thought of my answers yet. However, it might just give you some like insight as to who I am as a human being, and then if you watch my other content, it might, you know, connect some dots for you, like Pee Wee Herman used to say.
Connect the dots, la 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 la. Connect the dots, la 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 la.
First question is, what do you teach and where? I teach 9th grade literature in West Philadelphia, and I also teach an elective that is the history of hip-hop. I picked literature because I had an English degree that was pretty much worthless when I graduated from college, and so I went back to teach, and I loved reading, and I loved all that books offered me over the years, and I wanted to impart some of that knowledge on kids. I think literature is a really great way it's a gateway into like a lot of other topics too, to talk about current events or emotional intelligence. It lends itself to be able to talk about a number of various other topics. Hip hop, I started teaching not because I am an aficionado on hip hop, although now I am. It was more born out of, I liked hip hop growing up. I was more into hip hop in like the golden age of hip hop, which means it's like Run DMC, Public Enemy, Tribe Called Quest, those types of groups. I then veered off into other music as I got older, but my students all love hip hop. So I wanted to create a class that allowed them to kind of explore something that they were already interested in. But to be able to do that, I had to learn a lot about hip hop myself, as far as like where it came from and how it started and the different eras of hip hop and what the tenets of hip hop were and what influences did it pull from. I learned all that stuff so that I could then teach my students and then further our conversation from there. And it's been fantastic. How long have you been teaching? I've been teaching, I just finished my 11th year, and next year will be my 12th year, because 12 comes after 11. Numero 3. Did you always know that you wanted to be a teacher? Nope. Never wanted to be a teacher. Didn't even really like school. I liked school until about 5th or 6th grade. And then it didn't come easy to me. I had a really hard time in school. High school, I dealt with tons and tons of bullies, literally getting my ass kicked every day of freshman year. I went to a very tough high school. And so, no, that didn't make me ever want to be a teacher. It wasn't appealing to me at all. Like I said in an earlier video that I did on I think I called it like how I became a teacher. I'll link that below also. In that video I talk about how I wanted to be a drummer. I wanted to be a priest at one time. I wanted to be a clown at one time, not a like Barnum Bailey clown, but like a traveling the world to third world countries and clowning there and bringing joy to people who were in pain. And then at some point I just kind of like looked at all of the things that I was interested in, and none of those three were completely appealing to me anymore, but the mixture of them looked like teaching to me, right? I love books, I love learning, I love dealing with kids, I love bringing joy to people that are in places that there's not a lot of joy often, the classroom. And really, being in front of your classroom is kind of like being on stage, which is probably why I have a YouTube channel now also. All of those things together brought me to teaching. Question number 5 will be answered here in my backyard because I was distracted by my kids and I hit the button again and it didn't record my answer. And so it's funny, even though I watched the video of Too Cool for Middle School answering this question, I heard her answer, I didn't look at the question. And so when that hashtag came up, the teacher OOTD WXYZ thing came up, I had no idea what that meant. I had to look it up on the web. And so I think what I'm being asked is, what do I generally wear to school, or what do I wear the most to school? This is an interesting question for me because I don't talk about this topic very much, and I haven't in the past. But as I've gotten older, something's happened in my body where like I have sensory issues. I have an aversion to certain types of fabrics. They drive me crazy and they make my skin feel weird and kind of messes with my head. I would love to dress the way that I really want to all the time, but it's just not an option because like it messes with my head in such a way that like it makes me irritable. It makes me not able to pay attention to what's going on around me because it's like, for me, it's kind of like if any person without this situation had a shirt on that had hair on the inside of it. If you ever had like a hair on the inside of your shirt because your daughter's hairs are everywhere. Or if you had like a bit of sand or dirt on the inside of your shirt bars. It drives me nuts. And so I'd love to dress the way that I really would like to, but it's so difficult to find clothes that feel good. So if you've watched some of my videos, you might notice, hey, why does Reynolds wear the same pair of pants like all the time? Because to me, clothes are like good friends. You find a few that work and you stick with them. Brand wise, not a big brand dude. I feel like if I wear a brand and they put their logo on it, I feel like I'm advertising for them. I feel like they should be advertising for me or paying me to wear that shirt if I do that. So I tend to buy a lot of clothes that don't have brand labels on them. Like American Eagle generally doesn't have their label on it unless they have that little tiny eagle on the shirt. I don't buy expensive clothes because I like to be helpful at school. I like to do stuff for other people, and sometimes that includes like getting messy, working with tools. I like project-based learning in the classroom, and so that lends itself to being really messy, and I'd hate to buy like a $100 J. Crew shirt and then have it get messed up because I got marker on it or paint or something like that. However, teacher dudes, for shoes, I really love Vans shoes for school. Our guys have to wear uniforms. I'm at an all-boys school. Everyone has to wear a uniform. The teachers are expected to wear a shirt and tie every single day. But Vans makes a line of shoes that they look like dress shoes, but they feel like sneakers, and they're awesome. I'm on my feet all the time. I never sit down in class because I like to get into the mix with the kids and be moving around all the time. And so I need shoes that are gonna like be able to keep up with me. It's always to Vans is where I try and hit it up for my shoes. There you go, strange fact about Reynolds. And now for number 5, we go back to the park. Number 5 asks, what do you usually bring for lunch? I eat the same thing every single day for breakfast and lunch. Every day for breakfast, I eat a smoothie with this green powder stuff and with fruit and bananas, which is another type of fruit, hemp seeds and all kinds of nonsense. And lately I've been drinking apple cider vinegar in the morning mixed with a little bit of water, which is like drinking hot death. It's awful. And every day for lunch, I typically eat salads at Wegmans, which is where I go food shopping here in America. They have these salads that are 2 for $6, and I get all veggie ones and eat those, and then I eat these really expensive protein bars because they make me feel good about myself, like my muscles are growing. Protein. Next question is, what is one of your favorite books about teaching? I love this question because my favorite book about teaching isn't about teaching. There's no curriculum in it. There's no lesson planning. There's no organizational practice. There's a priest in South Central Los Angeles. His name is Father Gregory Boyle. He is fantastic. And so he has a number of books that I will put right here. His books are great, and this is why I think that all teachers should read them. The thing that I think that is so beautiful about him is that, A, he's committed himself to loving people who are on the fringes of society, right? And so he teaches, or he works with gang members and with the people that are part of his parish, and he's there. He's not leaving, he doesn't want to leave, they don't want him to leave, so he's been there for years and years and years. 2, he loves the people that are a part of his mission, no matter what they do. They can be in and out of prison. They could have shot someone. They could be part of a gang and be very violent at times. But what his books have taught me is that despite what someone's done, everyone needs someone to love them and to never ever give up on them, no matter what they've done. And that's a really, really hard pill to swallow, but he does it with such grace and such humbleness, and it is so inspiring. If you're not into reading books, or if that sounds like too much of a stretch for you, there's also a documentary. It used to be on Netflix, but I will link it below. He also did a really, really great interview with Krista Tippett on her show On Being, which is on NPR, and you could check that out too. With relationships being as important as they are in the classroom, his books have taught me more than any teacher book that I've ever read. It's one of your favorite teacher movies. Man, I'll tell you, when I started teaching, I loved teacher movies. I loved movies that had to do with anything teacher related, where a teacher went into a school and elevated those children, elevated that school, was a positive influence on everyone around them. And the older I've gotten and the more I've taught, the more I just feel like teacher movies are just nonsense a lot of times. Because they haven't made the teacher movie yet that I really want to see. And that's the movie where like a group of people go in and elevate the children. They become part of the community instead of like coming in from on high and like helping, you know, the poor children out or the disenfranchised children, or, you know, blessing their community. And it was all of them. At the end of the movie, they didn't like make a friend and do it with them. They just did it all on their own. And the reason I have an issue with that is I think it just sets new teachers up for this idea that they have to go in it alone, that no one else in that school knows what they're doing, and that kids, frankly, are sitting there just waiting for someone to show up to teach them. And I just think that's nonsense. A lot of times kids don't care when you show up, and you have to like wear them down. You have to chisel them down. And with all of your love and all of your passion and all of your commitment until they finally give in and they can't help it because you are right up in their face loving them every single day. So if I had to pick a teacher movie, I really like Half Nelson with Ryan Gosling. And it's a little different of a teacher movie because Ryan Gosling is addicted to crack in this movie and he is teaching in the city, but I like it. There's something really gritty about that movie that makes me really gravitate towards it. I like that it's a teacher that's really dealing with real stuff. They're not this perfect human being who like was sent to a school and then they just crush it. It's someone with real problems and real stuff going on in them that they have to work through to get so that they can be a better person, so they can be a better teacher for the kids. Other than that, just like Too Cool for Middle School, I'd pick Lean on Me, just because I love being powerfully honest with my students. I think it does them a lot of good. I don't think pandering or talking to kids like they're fragile really benefits them. And I am in no means just harsh with my students. I love them, but I want to love them in a really honest way. And I know that they appreciate that. I just from them telling me, I like being super real with my students. Who was your favorite teacher? You know, it's funny. I never had a favorite teacher like in high school that would have made me want to teach high school. I had no one that really stood out to me, but my 4th grade teacher, Mrs. Panchison, just made school great. So there was something about her. I had her at 7th Avenue School in Haddon Heights, New Jersey, and she was super wonderful, just loving, caring, the right amount of strict. She read to us every day. It was the first time I ever remember really enjoying books when I was a kid, when we'd read things like Tales of 4th Grade Nothing or My Side of the Mountain, books that I still remember, like the whole plot, because we would come in from lunch, we'd put our heads down on our desks, and she would read to us for 30 minutes after lunch, and it was just a special time of the day. Other than that, the teacher that I student taught with, Mr. Zakaria, who was at Winslow Township High School in New Jersey, was the epitome of like what I wanted to be as a teacher. He had a room that was on point. He had respect from all the kids. His lessons were amazing. He was a part of everything. People came to him for help and he helped others relentlessly, tirelessly. He was always helping folks out with whatever he could help them out with, teaching kids like how to drive. And I remember once there was a student who his family didn't have money to buy him a new suit for prom. So Mr. Z, which is what all the kids called him, found out the kids' measurements, went to a store, bought a suit, crumbled it up into a ball and put it in a trash bag, and then put it in the room where they kept all the props for the play. He told the student, hey, you know, I think there's a suit that might fit you if you have to go look in the prop room and like look through all the bags and stuff and see if you can find something in there. Maybe we can find something for you to wear to prom. And the kid went in there and he found it, and he was like elated that this miracle had happened, when in fact it was Mr. Z was the miracle. He made it possible so that this student could look presentable, went to the prom, and didn't have to like take a handout from someone when that wasn't something that he was ready to do. It was really, I mean, that's who I want to be as a teacher. Next question, who are some of your favorite teacher YouTubers, Instagrammers, Snapchatters? I have a lot. I follow a lot of people, and I might not comment on everyone's stuff. I try to, but the people, so without running through the whole list that everyone else already likes, I really, really love Miss May, One Fab Teacher, is one of my favorite human beings. I feel like she and I were destined to meet and be friends. I don't get to talk to her that much, but we're at the point where like we'll call or text one another, and I always just feel like I'm talking to an old friend when I speak to her. Kate, the Sleepy Teacher, has been someone that's really wonderful. Kate helps me every week when I do my Teacher Talk Live on Tuesdays, which will now be on Tuesdays and Thursdays, starting this Thursday. She helps me in the comment section, like making sure that I don't miss questions that she thinks might be good to talk about. There's a guy on Instagram who goes by The Hipster Teacher, and I really, really like him. He's only in he just finished his second year of teaching, but he's just such an authentic dude and is trying to come up with creative ways to teach his students and engage them, and I really think that he's worth checking out also. I really like Black Girls Teach. I think they put out interesting stuff. I'm trying to get them on my show. I really like Mzurbaneducator. Too Cool for Middle School, obviously, because this is where I found this idea from. You know, there's a whole bunch of people, and it's hard for me to I want to shout everyone out. I don't want to feel like I'm slighting anyone by not shouting them out, even though I really love what many of you are doing. Number 10, what is one of your best classroom management tips? I think the best classroom management tip that I could tell someone is to be authentic to who you are, right? This is key. Don't watch what someone else is doing and just try and emulate that yourself, because you might not be able to do it, right? If someone else is funny, if they use humor and you're not particularly funny or quick-witted, that's gonna blow up in your face. If you're not particularly stern or serious and you try to be that's gonna blow up in your face also. So for me, using humor in the classroom is everything. I mean, I love using humor to break. There's a kid over here. Hey, handsome. Yeah, I think using humor in the classroom and building relationships with students is huge. Don't you think building relationships with students is a big deal? Mm-hmm. That's what Marley does when she comes into my school. So building relationships with students gives you an insight on who kids are that you wouldn't otherwise have, and then you can leverage that in some way. And I mean that in a very positive way. Like, if you know where someone's coming from, you might know better how to interact with them or how to handle a particular situation. And the last question, what is one reason you decided to become a teacher? What do you think? Why do you think I became a teacher?
I don't know.
Is it the money?
No.
Is it the fame?
Yeah.
Is it all the accolades that I get all the time?
What are accolades? I don't know.
Come on, accolades, man.
What are accolades?
It's a fruit. Like many people, one of the reasons I became a teacher was because I love people. I want to help. I actively seek out situations where I can help people, and teaching gives you students when they're at their most vulnerable, or at a very vulnerable age anyway. Teaching offers me the opportunity to know students when they're teenagers and to know new teachers. I love talking to new teachers and sharing my perspective on things, listening to their perspective, helping them grow in their craft, helping them want to stick to it, building community in the school and creating a place where people want to show up to work or at least want to walk down my hallway. I like to make my classroom somewhere that's inviting, that makes kids want to show up and be in there, makes other teachers want to be in there. I love all that stuff. That's one of the reasons that I became a teacher. That's it. I think that's all the questions. Before you go, if you could please, there's a little bell right down here somewhere, right there where Marley's pointing. And if you hit that bell, then you'll know every single time I upload a video, because they're sort of sporadic. They're several times a week, but I just never know what day they're gonna come on, because I have children and these hungry eyes need to be fed and they need to be bathed and they need to be played with. So I don't always have a chance to do it when I want to or on some sort of schedule. Hit that bell, hit the subscribe button, smash the like button, as the kids say, right? Smash it. And then if you know any teachers that are struggling, anybody that's starting out, anyone that wants to be a teacher, pass these videos along. I'd love to help them. You can leave comments in the section below and I'd love to talk to you. You can send me an email, DM, message me, You can even send me a letter, but you don't know my address, and I don't want to tell that to people because that's just not safe nowadays, I guess. What if I was just a pirate? What if I quit teaching and became a pirate? That was good.
I should have.
All right, guys. We'll see you later. Thanks for watching.
Peace.
Hey!